After releasing their debut album in 2024, brother and sister bandmates Max and Lucy Kendall from the band Deco spent some time with the Camping and Caravanning Club at the Torchlight Festival of Camping. Speaking to me, Hugh Hopkins backstage about their time with the Scouts and how it shaped them growing up, as well as struggles of pitching tents at festivals and their favourite camping memories.
We were doing quite well before the whole COVID and lockdown stuff happened. We were kind of gradually building up. And then once but on a live, so we were building a really good live following. But then as soon as that went, obviously because of lockdown, we had to adapt and find new ways to reach people. And I guess we just loved music and being creative. And we'd done in the first lockdown, we'd written loads and loads of songs. So then we had a bit of kind of free kind of headspace to kind of do something fun and kind of show off our personalities in a different kind of way, I guess.
Yeah, and there must have been moments where, because I think you were doing some of those videos alone with yourself, but sometimes you were getting input from other members of the band. So, like, what was that like working creatively, on videos where you couldn't always be in the same space?
It was definitely weird because, like, I was, especially in lockdown, I was in my flat. You, John, and Steele were all living together, so it was a little bit easier in that sense through some of the videos. But it was definitely weird, but quite liked it.
Yeah, it was just different, wasn't it? When you look back.
And new ways of working and new ways of creating.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we were in a position where we were living together for 3 months, not doing anything else other than music. That will never happen again. So I kind of missed that actually in a weird way.
You never know, it might happen.
Don't even start.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So obviously you've been performing for essentially Camping and Caravanning Club. That's who is behind this entire event. What's your history with camping and caravanning? Have you ever done any?
Yeah. I was in the Scouts.
If you want me to be totally honest, I did Scouts too. Hated it.
I love it.
Absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I love it. So,
but I can appreciate people that like it.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
There's no better feeling when it's raining and you're in the tent.
But I think I'd like caravanning. I can imagine myself liking that. We've not experienced caravanning.
Nothing better than heating up some beans and sausages.
Yeah, that's cool.
In
But a tent, I'm not a fan of a tent.
What are some of your favourite camping memories, whether it be Scouts or wild camping with some friends?
My favourite camping memory is when I went camping for the first time with my dad. We went to Wales. I can't remember exactly where, but I remember what was number one at the time. It was the Mavericks' Dance the Night Away. Whenever I hear that song, I just remember that trip. I loved it. Yeah, it's funny how like the song and the memory and the whole like thing linked. But I loved camping from that moment actually.
I suppose I've got memories from like festivals, particularly a festival called One Ton Above. That's the only time I really enjoy camping.
We've had some hilarious ones where like there was like a typhoon pretty much at Why Not Festival. It's got its own little microclimate. We were like packing our tent down to get down to Truck Festival. I was in I drove down in just my pants because it was so wet. And there's tents like flying everywhere. 2019, yeah. Then we drove down to Truck Festival in Oxfordshire from Derbyshire, and it was like totally different weather, really sunny. It was great. So I dried off on the main stage.
And then I remember we camped that night as well, and it was sunny. And John got a little bit too drunk and fell asleep. We camped on like a slant, and he fell asleep on the slant with his head here. And I just remember him suddenly hitting his head on the pillow next to me, and I heard the snoring all night.
Yeah.
All night.
All night.
So you probably get this quite a lot, but you're on stage with several other guys, and what's touring like? Do you get a lot of snoring and a lot of like?
Mainly from her, to be
No,
honest.
I'm probably actually the snore. He breathes like Darth Vader, but I do have a little bit of a snore. The others are quite quiet.
Yeah. John are like the quiet sleepers.
It's definitely has its moments being the only girl, and I quite like it when we have like a girl in the crew. That's always nice.
Which we do often, but not today.
So yeah, that's nice. But yeah, it's fun hanging out with the boys, but I get a bit fed up with them sometimes.
We get on weirdly. We get on quite well in the band, but then as soon as we go home and turn into like 10-year-olds again.
You turn into a 10-year-old.
So there you go.
I don't.
The fact that you're even doing that suggests that you would turn into a 10-year-old too. So yeah, but yeah, we just kind of get on with it, and it's kind of nice because I don't know. For me, there's obviously like ups and downs in the band, and like I can chat to Lucy probably more than the other guys a little bit because we're family. So yeah. it's good in that sense.
And I, you know, again, speaking from experience, music in family, I think it can be a wonderful thing. You know, you've got personally, I've got lots of musical memories of like listening to certain bands and, you know, taking me back to, you know, a certain time and a place. And, you know, you were just talking about, you know, going camping with your dad. So it must be nice to have that connection as well when you're up on stage.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. We have there's a couple of moments on stage where we kind of, you know, and do a little bit of a moment where she's doing a sax solo and I'm doing some vocal ad-lib.
It's probably the only time we really interact on stage.
Yeah.
Is that moment.
Yeah.
I kind of tried to keep, no offence, but
Yeah.
kind of keep it separate and then have that
Yeah.
moment and then kind of separate again. Otherwise it's just...
Yeah. She doesn't like me, but yeah.
And you've plugged her a couple times on stage, but personally I've been listening to some of your new music. It's fantastic stuff. I've really been enjoying it.
Thank you.
I know my brother's been enjoying it as well. What's the feeling? What's the concept? What's the impetus behind this new album? What's inspired it?
So we wrote a bunch of songs, and then we sat down and thought, what's the kind of concept that's tying this together? And for us, it was the fact that we were kind of in our mid to late 20s, and we're kind of in that weird position where we're 1 foot in adulthood, 1 foot in youth still. So we don't really know where we're going necessarily. You know, we're in this weird kind of period. Obviously, we know where we're going with the band, but like, you know, some part of you wants to kind of chill out, and part of you wants to carry on doing fun stuff. You know, not that you need to give up doing fun stuff, but naturally that's kind of what happens, I guess, as you get older. So that was the kind of theme that was kind of running through the album. So the album's called Destination, I Don't Know. So yeah, that's kind of concept behind it and what inspired it without us even knowing, I guess, until we kind of reflected on all the song kind of topics and names. So.
Going back to, like, you know, 80s, early 90s, nostalgia pop. What is that something that you were brought up on, or what's inspired that sound?
Definitely, like, I used to go through my dad's record collection. That's like a big one. But then weirdly, when I was growing up, when you're in your real kind of formative years, electronic kind of pop was coming back with like Friendly Fires and 80s influenced bands, I guess, like White Lies as well. Phoenix, like French synth pop. So there's kind of a link between that kind of era of music and the 80s, so I guess it kind of just merged in my head, and then that's kind of just what I loved. So that's why I guess our sound is like it is, I suppose.
Mine's definitely a mixed bag of stuff.
Yeah, you're a bit older, so. Joking. She's actually younger. She's younger.
No, but I was like the Cause.
Yeah.
Girls Aloud.
Just good. Yeah. More poppy stuff.
I was definitely into. Yeah, for sure. Cool. But then I like a lot of jazz as well. So.
Well, it's created a really wholesome sound, a great pop act, and yeah, hopefully you guys can continue. Really enjoying it so far. Well done.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.